Good morning. Today I have the privilege of having Kevin Kimley with me, and I would say the grandfather of our college programs in entrepreneurship. I first got connected with Kevin Kimley, the Ag Entrepreneurship Initiative, in I guess about 3 or 4 years ago. And when they were at a key scaling transition, they had built a wonderful history. And we're looking really to how could we scale, how could we increase our impact, which began an incredible flurry of activity and built on many, many years of successes. Kevin, I would wonder if you might introduce yourself this morning and what your background is and what brought you to Iowa State to build entrepreneurship here.
Sure. Well, thank you for being with us today, Karen, but thank you for all your help. We rely so much on people like you to lend a hand in all kinds of different ways. It's absolutely important to what we do. So I've been at Iowa State for about 11.5 years. So for a long time now. Prior to that, I had a career of starting my own ag tech businesses, I guess you would say, but I had sold one in 2008, and in 2009, Iowa State University asked me to consider coming back to serve as director of the Agricultural Entrepreneurship Initiative. And so we've been doing that. So the program preceded me by a few years. Alumni Roger and Connie Underwood gave a gift to the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences and challenged the college to develop courses, experiences, and programs that could positively impact students that wanted to be innovative and entrepreneurial and help prepare them for their career paths.
That's great, Kevin. And I know that you have had many students who have been successful. I want to start first with what types of activities, events, possibilities can students participate in if they come into that Ag Entrepreneurship portal?
Yeah. Well, one example of a program that is extracurricular that we do is called Changemaker Academy. And so students enter that, and it's not a club, it's not a course, rather it's a program. And they designate an interest area. So they might be interested in starting a farm, in which case they designate as being a farmer entrepreneur. They might be interested in being an inventor, designer, engineer. So we have a designation for that. They might be an aspiring small business owner. So we have a group that does that. So we have various panels, programs, outside of a pandemic, dinners, dinner events. And then we set up each student with a mentor who has some expertise in that interest area that we have. So that's one example. A student might take a course that we offer. And so a course that I teach is Economics 334, Entrepreneurship in Agriculture. And so students in that course, first of all, just explore opportunities. You know, what opportunities are out there? What opportunities represent a potential business? What opportunities am I interested in? And what opportunities and sorts of activities might my personality and my interest be a fit for? And Karen, you've helped us for many years when we have Skills and Behaviors Week, help students kind of understand themselves a bit better and how to interact with others. And so in that course, there's not a final exam. Instead, students present their business idea to panelists and have a pitch. And so out of that program has been many new farms and businesses. And so one example for students that go through that course and have an idea that they're really interested in is that they might go into our student incubator program. Right. So each semester we might have usually 12 to 15 students that are at some stage of either having a business that actually is up and going and producing revenue, but more likely just an idea at that stage that they're trying to further develop. And for some of those students, they graduate and they work on that business and actually launch the business. Others, it might take a period of years, but those are just some examples, Karen, of ways that students engage in courses and experiences. Other extracurricular programs that we offer to students are internships. And of course, internships are nothing new to Iowa State University, but our niche is having internships on innovation projects for more established companies, or even more likely, internships with very early stage startup businesses. We get some financial support because sometimes those businesses don't even have enough money to provide a stipend for students. And so those are always, or potentially hair-raising experiences for students, because they jump into the chaos that is a startup business, but really, get to take up as much responsibility as, they can handle in helping the business move forward.
Yes, Kevin, one of the things I'm reminded of as you speak, your program in particular is really terrific at engaging students in high risk or moderate risk activities in a good way, of course, taking risks, building confidence, providing and curating the experience in such a way that you really accelerate their progress. I wanted to highlight just a couple things. One of those projects, you have students do travel courses. They've done work in Bangladesh. They've done work in Europe on specific business projects and programs. I wonder if you might feature a couple of those things. I'm particularly thinking of the project in Bangladesh where you worked with like 5,000 farmers.
Yeah, so Syngenta, the large agricultural business, had approached us. They wanted a student group to work with a startup that they had helped create in Bangladesh called Joico. And Joico is essentially a business that's set up to enable smallholder farmers in Bangladesh to kind of improve their lot, improve their economics of their business, farm, and scale it up and just move forward. But how to fund it, how to fund it appropriately for the context of what agriculture is like in Bangladesh and what those farmers are like is a real challenge. And so they engaged a student team here at Iowa State, and we created a course out of it for the students to help Joico and Syngenta understand what some funding possibilities might be, because there's a tremendous amount of risk in it, and it's in a country with a not very developed economy, and so the number of potential investors is really low, but students did a really good job helping connect Joico and their thousands of farmers that benefit by the services that they provide, connect them to further funding and kind of a pathway forward for how to deploy risk capital in the right way and how to grow.
One of the other things to think about, Kevin, is the advantage of your program is you provide opportunities also for students to walk side by side with and companion industry stakeholders, engagers, investors. And because of that, again, another opportunity for students to accelerate their entrepreneurship journey. So I'm thinking of your executive unconference and some other opportunities where students get to really learn from and be with industry specialists. Can you talk a little bit about those other kind of benefits that are really differentiate our Ag-EI program versus another university?
Yeah, I think a big part of the entrepreneurial and innovation experience is just exposing yourself to new people and new ideas. It's the people who you meet that change your life. And so I think one thing we can always do at Iowa State University is convene groups. And so, coming back to Iowa State was sort of a fresh set of eyes at least 12 years ago. When I came to Iowa State, it was remarkable to me how energized industry professionals, entrepreneurs, alumni would get when we brought them back to campus to engage with students. And so it can be in a mentoring experience through Changemaker Academy. It can be serving as a panelist for the Entrepreneurship in Agriculture course where you're evaluating business ideas, or it can be by participating in our unconference on agricultural entrepreneurship, where we address sort of a topic in agricultural entrepreneurship and have people ranging from students at Iowa State University that are interested to really early stage entrepreneurs, to investors, to people who've had long careers and tremendous success. But we put them in the room and try to create at least an environment where great conversations can take place.
I would be remiss in leaving this conversation without talking about the legacy of student entrepreneurs. who have launched in a big way because of the programs that they've participated in and the mentoring they've received from Iowa State, with your support. Can you maybe point out a couple very famous stakeholders? I'm thinking of Clayton Mooney, certainly, with when he worked with his lettuce company and won an award to an incubator, as well as others.
Yeah, so Clayton Mooney, I met in my entrepreneurship and agriculture course. And so I use a book to start that course called All In Startup. And it's about two entrepreneurs who meet at the World Series of Poker. Well, Clayton had already gotten one degree from Iowa State in creative writing, I think, kind of like you, Karen. Came back to Iowa State to work on a degree in global resource systems in the College of Agriculture, but he had had a career in professional poker. So I just found that very curious. But yes, he went on to now launch a company called Nebulum. So they have an indoor lettuce farming technology using aeroponics. And so, and Clayton got into Y Combinator, the most prominent accelerator in the world in Silicon Valley, but came back to Ames after completing that program and is building his business here and delivering fresh lettuce weekly to customers like Patty and I and others.
And me.
And you. Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you for your business on behalf of Nebulum. Another former student, Colin Hurd, created an idea in entrepreneurship and agriculture some years ago now for a device that would go behind large-scale center-fill planters to break up the compaction layer beneath the wheel tracks and improve yields by decreasing soil compaction. He did that after he got his bachelor's degree at Iowa State, sold that to Yetter, then started another company called SmartAg that created a technology for autonomous tractors that drive themselves, software drives them. About a year and a half ago, sold that company to Raven Technologies, and today continues to work with that, but he also is working part-time with myself and Joel Harris at a small fund that we started called Ag Startup Engine that does early stage investments in agricultural technology businesses. So anyway, those are a couple of our poster boys, I guess you would say, for having very impactful careers, even as being very young.
Kevin, I know that you're too modest to also share. You've had an entrepreneurial impact even within your own family. One of the businesses out of Iowa State that spent some time in the research park is Jackson's business, aquaculture as well, and another student at Iowa State University who has really launched in a big way. I wonder, as we end our interview today, if you just might touch upon a little bit about what Jackson is doing.
Yeah, so, and not only Jackson, but indoor aquaculture is kind of a wild west part of the protein industry. And so I'm trying to create a new protein industry in Iowa. So back in the spring of 2013, we took, just as another example of what we do, a tour of businesses, and we met a couple of people working on aquaculture things. And on that trip were Jackson Kimley, my son, a student that graduated with an agricultural business degree, and then another agricultural business student who's a little bit older than Jackson named Joe Sweeney. And so both of them today are working on different aquaculture businesses. So as you drive north on Interstate 35 by the Ellsworth exit, you'll see some greenhouse-like structures. That is Joe Sweeney's Eagles Catch. They are growing tilapia indoors. And just off Interstate 35 at the Story City exit, so a little bit south of that at the former outlet mall, Jackson Kimley, another alumni, Matt Ellis, and Sarah Kimley, Jackson's wife, another alumni of Iowa State, have a business called Midland Seafood. And so they are growing shrimp. And a matter of fact, I think today they are having a harvest.
That's fabulous. Well, and I also like that here in the Midwest, we are doing aquaculture, which is very novel and especially engaging young entrepreneurs in that experience. We have a whole legacy of people to really build our next generation of innovators. As we head in the future, Kevin, what's next on the event horizon? What's new if we look at the next 2 to 3 years?
Well, I think more of everything. You know, what we are working on is trying to get deeper into our college. You know, we estimate that each year we touch about 1,200 students in the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences with some program, which you helped us get there, Karen, with doing that. But the next question that we're asking is, what would we have to do to touch every student in the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences with at least one entrepreneurial and innovative experience? And so we're working to get much more integrated with our departments in the college so that we can, put those experiences into new classes, new extracurricular activities, more internships, a bigger change maker academy, more students in our incubator. So it's kind of an all of the above approach.
Kevin, I am just so grateful for also what I've learned from you and with you. It was because of you that the president brought me into a more engaged role in our university. And because of your work, one of our students in our fellows program calls it Slingshot Innovation. And we basically slingshotted off of what you did and have managed to magnify it, build it, grow it. Every single one of our colleges has built their programs based on what they've learned from you. So I just want to thank you and tell you that I am waiting just with bated breath about what you're going to do next, where you're going next. And I love the fact that you do big things and engage people in really unconventional ways. Thank you for your service to Iowa State University.
Well, thank you, Karen. And we're awfully excited about the many, many things going at Iowa State University. And thank you for the great programs that you've built over the last year that our students have been able to engage in.
Welcome. I'm here with Anna Luge, who is a professor in the College of Design. She is also the interim director of innovation and entrepreneurship in the College of Design. And in the last year alone has marshaled quite a magnificent effort with students, faculty, and staff leading innovation, both innovative projects, innovative relationships with industry, and innovative outcomes, I would say, student outcomes. So Anna Luge, welcome.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you for inviting me to talk.
Of course.
And representing the college.
So I'm wondering, Anna Luge, could you introduce yourself and a little bit about your background and what brings you to innovation?
Yes. So there has a normal path and the twist path. So for the purpose of innovation, we'll start with the twist path. I am a learning architect. So it means that my field is change making and intrapreneurship. So valuing the social capital and how connections and relationships are fostered or created or helped through the world of design. That's the twisted part. The normal path of the introduction would be my background is in industrial design and architecture. But while I was doing my grad students elsewhere in the world, as you can hear by my accent, not in America, in Europe, I discovered that I was in love with education, and some things in education weren't quite aligned with the way that I thought learning was happening. So I had this parallel track of finding how teachers teach and how learners learn, and what are like our skills in our disciplines, but what are like our competences as human beings. And that was along the way, I stopped being a professional designer and I became a human stalker. And that's the take that I would like to attach myself to. So innovation, not of services, products, and systems, but of experiences, of behaviors, of mindsets, of how people engage with the world.
Spoken like a true designer, right?
Maybe, so
yes. It's really enhanced the fabric of our Innovation Fellows program and our innovation programming, that kind of mindset that you bring, because you're also a core member of our innovation leadership team. And that has really informed our approach, really looking beyond invention, product, and service, and looking at the core of innovation in humans. And that's been a really fabulous addition and has differentiated our program. I'm wondering if you might speak to some of the things and initiatives that you're working on within your college.
Okay, so the college, as I said, I arrived very recently, but the college has a big history on the big umbrella of civic innovation and social responsibility. I'm not even going to say social entrepreneurship, but social responsibility. Most of the departments that we have in the college operate in the world of community, of engaging with users, with the real actors of life. So there's a lot of projects in the academic curriculum that work with community or are fostered by and with community. There's a lot of research in the college, the current one, for instance, on rural communities. There's community design labs. There's many projects that I wasn't aware of that were happening almost like in a grassroots way in the College of Design, little studios, little projects, little endeavors that would happen that go onto the communities. And all of the sudden, like one of the missions is to put all these little grassroots pockets of action, of intervention in the world into something that we can have like a big initiative and the college. One thing that I would like to put forward is that despite the college being standing on 7 departments and 7 disciplines, there's a lot of interdisciplinary work, co-teaching, co-researching, putting students within the curriculum at certain points in their academic path, working with each other. And that has been a surprise for me, but it has been something that I really want to put forward from the college. There's a lot of interdisciplinarity conversations happening, and that has been very important, I think.
Anna, you also have some really stellar students. I'm wondering if you might share some of the stellar projects that have come out of your work with these students, and especially as it relates to innovating new processes, systems, approaches.
So specifically, I'm from the Department of Industrial Design and the Department of Interdisciplinary Design. Most of the projects that are coming out of our graduate program are not necessarily products, things that you can hold in your hand, but they are really interventions at systems level. So making an analysis, a big analysis of the complexity of the world and the biggest challenges that we have. There's lots of projects now that take the 17 UN Sustainable Goals. And the idea is that our students take that as the charge and then go deeper and deeper into the complexity. And there's some fabulous projects happening, again, on the option studios, not necessarily in my department, but with all other studios doing things together. There's smart cities projects, there's rural innovation, like I told you, there's community engagement, lots of projects with community engagements with prisons, landscape, design behavioral change. There's big projects with graphic and changing the perception of how we interact in the world. So yeah, there's many. I could talk all day.
Yeah. Well, I know you're an inspiration too, Anna, to a lot of the students that work with you, and you work alongside them. It's a novel approach. I'm wondering if you might speak to how we innovate education, how that experience itself is really kind of transforming how we approach students and student learning.
I think you nailed it with the last word, the transforming. So most of the work that we do in the College of Design is experiential. And I'm not just saying go out and have an experience, but it's studio-based, project-based. So it means that it really depends on how the student engages with the project itself. But one thing, yeah, I'm not sure, I am absolutely sure that I'm not the only one, but one of the things that's very important for the world of design is co-designing, co-evolution, and co-teaching. And we just had this conversation today about being inclusive by design is to really paying attention to what our students are saying, because they know more than we know, and having the vulnerability as a teacher to sometimes say, I don't know, what's your thought on it? What is your voice? What is the thing that you want to do? And we're really here not to teach them how to do it, but it's to facilitate what they have as a dream. And unschooling the school. I don't know if it is like innovative, but it's also very, we just talked about that. It puts you in a very fragile position because supposedly academia and scholars and teachers and faculty, we're the experts. And so you come to college, you know, to become a professional of your discipline. And actually what this means is that we are more interested in the college, not in creating professionals of something, but to give them the tools and give them agency for them to question disciplines, for them to question the world. And that's what we believe that education is. It's like a quest to continue learning forever. It's not just in the college. So yes, our students are co-teachers. I literally personally put them on stage. I give them, you know, like, here you go. This is your week. You need to do something and teach me something that I don't know. So it's really co-teaching, most of them, and give them like the tools to believe in themselves and having this creative courage of putting forward their thoughts. Yes.
That's great. And on the horizon, Anna, as you think about moving forward, just can you give me one thing that you are focusing on next that's kind of new and enhancing for the College of Design?
So there is one dear project that has been with the college before I even arrived, which is really taking forward this interdisciplinary project forward. I don't know yet how are we going to do it, so I'm going to be totally transparent here. I don't know how we're going to do it, but I have a hint that this is the way to go, but we cannot do it alone, just the College of Design. We actually need to look out and have other transdisciplinarity mindsets, having a conversation. There is indeed, we want to put on the agenda of the college the social entrepreneurship, this civic responsibility that we have. We're helping to change the world. So designers need to be on the conversation, designers, planners, architects, graphic design, whoever, but creators need to be on the table. And I find most personally that all the initiatives that the College of Design will have ready for you all who are listening is to work together. Tell me how you do your things and I'll tell you how I do mine. And together we're going to create this third space of intervention. And I think that's the biggest initiative. I don't know yet. I can tell you something. It starts something. We want to start something. So maybe this is it. Maybe this is the third space that we need to create. Maybe we won't have colleges in the future, but we have like pockets of projects that we would put forward. Yes, it's a big dream. We'll see how we get there.
Anna, I have no doubt with you leading that we're going to see a lot of those dreams move into reality. And I really appreciate you. Our university is so lucky to have someone with your imagination, but also your capacity to work with students and in unsiloed ways. You help unschool all of us. And for that, we are grateful. Thank you.
No, thank you. I need to give it back to you. So I'm not sure. Yeah, there's a lot of, you know, in innovation in general, some things are happening in your mind and sometimes it's hard to talk about it and put it and making it happen. And you need to find in sync minds. You need to find people who speak your language. So you are one of them. So the directors of the directors. No, but I think it's quite important to acknowledge that it's not just what's going on in my imagination, is the fact that when we speak, there's people who can see the same things, or even if they don't see it, they say, oh yes, and you are one of those, and most of the people that we have in our team. And I think that pushes the envelope a little bit further. So thank you back.
Well, Anna, off to your dreams and your innovations, and thank you for your time today.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Hello, innovation happens here. Welcome. And I am so pleased to introduce Dr. Linda Neem today. She is the Entrepreneurship and Innovation Director for the College of Human Sciences. And I'm looking forward to hearing more from her today. Welcome, Linda Neem.
Yeah, it's great to be here, Karen. Thank you for this opportunity.
Yes, do you mind, Linda? I would do a horribly inadequate job of introducing you. given that you have pretty long scope and scale with the College of Human Sciences. Can you share a little bit about who you are and what your role is in the college and at the university?
Sure. In the College of Human Sciences, I'm the director, leader, I guess you would say, of entrepreneurship and innovation for the college. So I coordinate, organize, network with individuals, both faculty and students, to develop programming, heighten awareness, make industry connections, all the above, for the purpose of enriching the student learning experience and helping them to engage in innovation and entrepreneurship. So that's kind of a big picture thing. At the department level, I'm a member of the Department of Apparel Events and Hospitality Management. I'm a professor there. And I teach entrepreneurship as well as retailing, and I'm the director of entrepreneurship and retailing for the department. So all things entrepreneurship and retailing is really the area, the zone that I operate in. And I also am at the university level on the e-leaders group, and really appreciate the opportunity to work collaboratively across colleges and across the university with them on entrepreneurship initiatives and innovation initiatives as well.
Right. Linda, I also count you as one of our core innovation team. You've been a wonderful advisor as we look at evolving some of those short circuit opportunities, and also co-advising some students who cross boundaries between innovation and entrepreneurship.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Very much so. Yeah. And maybe this is later in our discussion, but I know you wanted to say, and where are you going from here? And I think those very types of activities, are kind of, on that next step. So we're looking towards implementing some of those early summer, and then really magnifying it for this next year.
That's fabulous. I also might mention, Linda, you do quite a few community projects and programs. You've really had a significant impact in domestic and some international work as well. Can you just talk a little bit about maybe some of those programs that you participate in?
Yes. Yeah, I think the College of Human Sciences, first of all, is unique in that we're all about improving life quality for people, consumers, for families, for businesses. Many communities thrive on family-owned businesses. So that whole gamut, as well as technical expertise within our specific areas, such as apparel merchandising and design, and hospitality and event management. Those are but a few examples within my department, certainly not the whole college. So we have both industry as well as education and outreach dimensions to what we do in human sciences. So my role within that has, in terms of an outreach capacity, has been working with small rural businesses, particularly small rural retail businesses, which make up the majority of main streets as you go across 80% of the communities in Iowa, for example. So, we really are trying to enhance their sustainability and vitality, and help them to become, really, functional and sustainable, and hopefully poised for growth in this digital era. As we look at retailing, it has changed dramatically. Their customer base has changed dramatically, and we're trying to help them, really be viable businesses and productive contributors, employers, all of those things where they give back to their communities. So it's business consulting, but it's so much more because they're embedded within this community structure. So civic innovation from in that regard is very much on our radar. And that's a lot of what I do with the outreach component. You mentioned globally too. So we've kind of have taken that same project, and I would be remiss if I didn't indicate that those community outreach in Iowa projects, that's not just me. I have a whole team of people behind me, so Dr. Jessica Hurst, Dr. Emery Fiore, for example, have been really key players on that project. Similarly, the two of them and a variety of others were part of a US-India project that we participated in. And that was a multi-year project, just wrapped up last year, and we're still writing, products from that. But we really were looking to kind of take our business consulting and business enhancement model internationally. And it all just kind of came together. There was a grant opportunity. The National Institute of Fashion and Technology in India wanted to partner with us. They were really trying to grow entrepreneurship opportunities, particularly for underserved groups such as women in India. So it just really was a great fit. So we were able to take our model and adapt it to a different cultural context. And some things were different and some things were the same, so it was very interesting. It was a cultural learning experience for us as faculty. We did a faculty exchange, but also it was for graduate education. So we had graduate students involved as well. So it was just an all around, amazing learning experience. Certainly a highlight of my career, I would say.
Well, I also know you had another highlight. I know you coached a student who won a national marketing competition. Did they not, Jenny?
Jenny Junker. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So Jenny Junker is just an amazing individual. And she took my entrepreneurship class 2 years ago now. And she competed with the National Retail Federation for a very major scholarship. So she was able, she was picked for her case study. It was a marketing case study. She was picked out of all students in the United States, for this particular award. So she really received a lot of recognition for that. So it's kind of a collaboration between YMA, the Menswear Association, which is kind of a misnomer because they do more than that, and also the National Retail Federation. So she was very well recognized for her case study work. She is just an exemplar student, and she really credited a lot of what she learned in her ability to convey her case study from what she learned about pitching and idea development in her entrepreneurship class. So she's definitely an innovator, and she's, I think, really an exemplar student among those that I would like to highlight and to share. So thank you for bringing her into the picture. Yep.
Yeah. Well, there's a parade of students, online fashion businesses, sustainability and fashion, fast fashion.
Yeah.
Even, this summer we did, earlier this year we did a international program for high school students on fashion and design. And
right. Yeah, we even pulled the event management into it as well. So yeah, we have a very dynamic college as well as departments within it. And the example that you just gave of the international collaborations on student recruitment, we were able to take our content and our focus within our programs and kind of bring it into the content for those recruitment events, and I think share what our college is all about. And just coincidentally, now that same model we're talking with them about using at the graduate level. So we're having ongoing conversation about how to extend that, to reach students globally that would be interested and good fits with our program. So, that was just a springboard to other things too.
Right. Linda, I am also interested in, as you think about what is most impactful right now, what are students doing right now? What are you engaged in right now? What are the types of things students can expect when they come to Iowa State?
It's wide ranging. I just really feel that we provide, and I'm going to give program and departmental, college level examples. Of course, there are many others, but for the sake of time, I'm going to tailor it to that example. I think we give our students more opportunities to engage in entrepreneurship and innovation than most all of our peer institutions that I'm familiar with. I like to think I'm pretty on top of what the barometer of what they're all doing. Most recently, in addition to the consulting and outreach projects that I had mentioned to you, we have some spaces in the Student Innovation Center, which you see the backdrop on our screens here, but we have Innovate 1858, which is a completely student operated retail store but it's more than just a store. I mean, clearly there's stores every place, and people get jobs, but the students are the sales team. And so we've really worked to develop their knowledge of what's it like to own and operate. And in fact, in this case, start up during a pandemic. I mean, how many people do that? A small retail operation. So they have learned a ton about how to, be resilient, and how to, make decisions under constrained resources, and find resources where they didn't know they had them, et cetera. So we were able to launch that store. It's off and running and doing quite well. And I think a unique aspect is that probably about 2/3 to 3/4 of the product in the store is student made. So we try to bring on board student makers and entrepreneurs from across the university. Yes, there are many within our program, but they also come from engineering. They come from, biosciences. I mean, they come from all over the place. If they have a product that they make that fits in with our assortment and our brand image, we're all about helping them bring their idea to market and get it in front of consumers. So, and we have a physical store and an online store. So, that's a really big thing. So that's our kind of apparel, merchandising, and design example at the Innovation Center. But we also have a cafe for the hospitality and event students, Sparks Cafe. And then we have the Culinary Creations Lab as well, which is all about new product innovation. We've had this innovations in chocolate class that, I mean, it has been off the wall, in terms of, how many students, I mean, they close out, they offer 2 sections each semester. So it has just been really well received, and that pulls students from all over campus. And they're, just really able to develop creative and problem solving skills, and, presentation skills in a very unique way. So yeah, those, I could probably talk all day, but those are three examples that I think are really differentiating and clearly, great opportunities for students to develop apply innovation and develop their entrepreneurial capabilities at Iowa State that they just wouldn't get most anyplace else. So that, and then we get the students out into the communities with the outreach projects. And there's more than just me. Greg Welk, for example, in kinesiology has done a lot of community engaged scholarship and gets students out there working in communities with more health related issues. So, again, it's looking holistically at the life quality for people in their communities. So it's businesses, it's health, it's the whole ecosystem, if you will, at the community level that we interact with.
Even finance, I think of Jonathan
Right.
Fox.
Exactly.
He did one of our innovation short circuits on how to be a millionaire by 40. And yeah, so we see the whole scope and spectrum. Linda, I might end on this question. When you think about immediate future, what is one focus that that students can anticipate in the coming couple years?
Well, I think, clearly it's here, and it's only going to be magnified, is the whole digital focus. So, within all of our programs, I mean, digital anything, whether it's digital retailing, whether it's digital design, with our product development and design, in event management. I mean, everything's about virtual reality, so I think, the continued infusion and, growth of, opportunities for students to learn about not just, the foundational concepts, but they're looking at them in perhaps a physical sense, but also a digital sense, because that's how they're going to be operating their lives is in these two domains. So we're doing that at the store, for example. We are trying to integrate as much digital technology, retailing technology as we can. And the consumer is interacting with us digitally. We're responding, presenting, marketing, sourcing, through those multiple channels as well. So I think that is a theme across all of our programs. And also in terms of outreach, that's what our businesses, for example, in my case, that's what there's not one that's not asking for that. Help me to be more efficient and effective in this multi-channel, now becoming omni-channel, one great big channel, you know, that's working together world. So I think that's where we're headed with our coursework as well as our outreach, and then also engaging with industry so that we're pulling all of these knowledge sources together so we can all learn from each other. I think that's really where we're headed.
Yeah. Well, Linda, thank you for your time today. I really appreciate the scope and scale again of what you've done, and also your work with the Innovation Center on interdisciplinary university-wide collaboration. I look forward to many of those to come, and I can't wait because innovation happens here.
Right. Likewise, Karen, I'm really excited too. So looking forward to just a really exciting, you know, next year and beyond. Because I mean, there's just so much growth potential with all of the innovation activities. It's truly an exciting time to be here at Iowa State.
Hi.
Hello.
Welcome, Dave. Good to see you, and so glad to have you here today. I'm very honored to introduce Dave Sly, who is the Director of Entrepreneurship for the College of Engineering. Dave Sly and I go way back in terms of developing and working on these types of projects over the last, I think, Dave, it's been almost 4 or 5 years.
Been a long time.
Yeah, a long time. We started with entrepreneurship and have moved into collaboration with the Student Innovation Center. But Dave, I'm going to find out today a little bit more about you. First of all, would you mind introducing yourself?
Yeah, so I'm, as you mentioned, the Director of Entrepreneurship, College of Engineering. You know, one reason I'm in this role is I actually started a company as a student back in the 1980s. I still run that company at the Research Park today. I kind of bypassed the typical career track of get a job, and I created my own right there in school. And I'm now on the faculty. I do this part-time, and I'm also on the faculty of the Industrial Engineering Department, which is my home department. And I actually teach in that department the senior design course called Senior Engineering, Senior Capstone Design.
And you also coach quite a few students. I know that I've sent a lot of them your direction, certainly, but your role is pretty expansive. You've done some very significant projects and led some significant initiatives in your department and for the college. Most recently, you have been formally appointed as the Director of Entrepreneurship and have recruited several faculty in this process. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so, you know, the College of Engineering is a big college. Some people don't recognize the fact that we have over 9,000 students. We're bigger than many other colleges, or certainly colleges within Iowa State, but even colleges and universities in the United States, just the College of Engineering at Iowa State. So, you know, as we seek to change, to improve, to evolve, to, in this case, implement entrepreneurial and intrapreneurial mindset and skill set, it takes an army to move the ship, so to speak. And so we have a faculty fellow. It's an appointment in each of our 8 core departments. One of those departments, for example, electrical engineering, is also computer engineering and software engineering. So there are even sub-departments in our departments. But each of our core 8 departments has a faculty member who's very experienced in entrepreneurship themselves. And many of these people have started companies or come from companies that they started or are working on transitioning technology out in the marketplace. So they're the people that are really helping. Collectively, we put together a strategy, and they're helping to implement that strategy within their departments in the college overall.
That's fabulous. You have quite a few notable projects too associated with your college. There are some really fascinating student projects going on now, but also in our recent history. Can you share a few examples of what some of those students are working on, especially as we look at students wanting to do something that matters, do something in the real world, hands-on experiences? What would be things that come to mind that are really notable?
Well, I mean, our college is focused on innovation. I mean, if you think about it, I mean, if you're going to be an engineer, I hope you want to innovate and create. I mean, that's really kind of the core. So by definition, our college, since its inception, has focused on creating and innovating. You know, from Wiki, the definition of an engineer is a professional who invents, designs, analyzes, builds, and tests machines, complex systems, structures, gadgets, and materials to fulfill functional objectives and requirements while considering limitations of practicality, regulation, safety, and cost, right? It isn't just innovation, it's those other things. It's the commercialization of innovation. And so it's no surprise that our history is littered with all kinds of things. I mean, what some of the big things recently that our university is known for is everything from the fax machine, how it operates. Of course, the digital computer was originally invented at Iowa State. But even more recently, we've had a number of products and software companies that have launched at the research park that have employed literally thousands of people and have gone public, several of them from the engineering college, students just like myself who've left and employed people, created companies, created businesses, and not just at the research park, but lots of other innovations. I was just, up at Spirit Lake, Berkeley Bedell is one of the notable people. Sukup Manufacturing is another notable people. These are all people who left Iowa State and at a very young age created a very substantial company that has been around and employing people all along. So it would be hard for me to pick anything particular. In addition, I will say that we have a number of very active, innovative clubs, everything from solar car to Baja car to the tractor pull competition that the Ag Engineering Department puts together, to the drone project, to the rocket club, to the mechanical engineering moon mining club, where we are tasked with competitions that are either national or international mostly, and putting together innovative solutions to compete on the global scale and solving a problem, once again, not just innovatively, but also meeting very clear objectives and outcomes.
Yes, and it's worth stopping a moment to think about also the people that are returning to the university, to our engineering core, that are coming back and re-engaging with students. We have quite a few active industry stakeholders that are coming in and delivering program and engaged in innovation, coaching students, those types of things. So, the president of Harman, previous CEO of Boeing, we have certainly Tom Stromer with Accenture. I mean, we have a lot of people who are continuing to return, invest in students, engage in entrepreneurship and innovation, sponsor design sprints. And that's also true with your capstone projects, where students get quite a bit of hands-on experience as well.
Yeah, this capstone program in the College of Engineering does vary by department considerably. Some of the departments, all the departments are required as part of being an accredited engineering department to have a senior design project experience that's as real world as they can be. Right. And of course, that means different things to different departments. In the civil engineering department, for example, the capstone is largely where the students design a bridge project or some major project that maybe the state of Iowa has already done or is in the process of doing, and the students are trying to see if they get the same outcome as the other engineers, and they're benchmarked on that. In the case of the ROE department, there's a lot of work with some of the aerospace companies where they once again work on a similar project. In the case of industrial engineering, mechanical engineering, material science engineering, and electrical engineering, those departments in particular, the capstone projects are very industry focused. In fact, the department I come from, industrial, it's 100% industry focused, where the students are actually working on an industrial engineering project at a firm to solve a problem that they need solved, and they pay us for that. I mean, we're fee for service. This is not a give me, it's not a grant. And our students are put in the situation where they have to come up with a viable project. And they're, in the case of industrial engineering, they need to get $100,000 net present value outcome on their project at a minimum, and achieve as close to a 100% stated implementation by the company. I mean, this isn't just something, oh, that's kind of cool. If it doesn't get implemented, it doesn't exist. It's of no value. And we make that very clear to the students, that it isn't just something, that they create, it's something they create that has to be implemented to be of value. And that's a core requirement. And we do a great job. We've been consistently hitting over $500,000 net present value over a 3-year payback on our projects to our companies. So they're happy to pay us for these services.
Dave, that's fabulous. It's just a long history of Iowa State successes, and I really thank you for your time today. We will see you as we continue to innovate together, collaborate together, and thanks for your time.
Thank you. Take care.
I have the honor today of welcoming Judy Isles, who is the director of the Papa John Center for Entrepreneurship. Judy has been with the Papa John Center for many years and has really led and has a long legacy of successes with that center. And our students very fondly think of her and continue to thrive under her mentoring, under her coaching, under her teaching. She also has a long reputation for engaging faculty, and staff, and as well as really making some amazing connections with industry, securing major multi-million-dollar grants, working with the Kauffman Center. I mean, I could go on and on about her accomplishments, but Judy, I'm going to ask you, would you mind introducing yourself and telling us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
I guess the best way to introduce myself as a cheerleader for entrepreneurship at Iowa State. I have been here since the beginning of the Papa John Center, which was actually launched in 1996. And based on a very generous gift from John and Mary Papa John, who saw that Iowa needed support for entrepreneurs. And so when our center was created, I was working as a business development consultant, started our programs and engage with students, faculty, and our community, and really try to make that all work together to support entrepreneurship and innovation here.
That's great. And in your role, Judy, you interact with people all over campus. Can you talk a little bit about those relationships, as the Papa John is kind of a center, really truly a center for our university, and how those relationships work for students and faculty?
Back at the inception, we had a very brilliant business college dean, Ben Allen, who made the decision at the very beginning that entrepreneurship was not the purview of the business college, that it really fits everybody at Iowa State. And so our center was created to really serve all of the colleges. So we work with all of the faculty and all of the departments across campus. Provide what I would really say we do the best is to extend student learning beyond the classroom, to help them experience entrepreneurship, discover entrepreneurship, try it out. So through a lot of our programs, which can be as simple as bringing in a speaker to campus, to our formal summer accelerator program, or Startup Factory, which is taking technology to the university and creating businesses, all the way to that support for the business. So it's pretty broad. We do that with relationships. So relationships with students, relationships with faculty and staff, as well as serial entrepreneurs, investors, and anybody who can help build a team to help a company thrive. We like to tell our students it's not just about starting a business, however. It's really learning how to be a good problem solver, how to be entrepreneurial and act entrepreneurial. And so all of our programs are really designed to integrate people across campus, to help people reach individuals who can mentor them, who can partner with them, who can teach them something, and really make them better entrepreneurs, whether that's today or 20 years from now.
Fabulous. I know the Papa John Center offers a pretty broad variety of programming for students at many stages of the journey. I'm wondering if you might talk about how students get engaged and what they can get engaged with.
It's a mystery on how students get engaged. So I've been here many, many years, and the path for a student to find entrepreneurship is multidimensional. Some students come to the university and know, because of a family business, because of something they've read or seen or something they've created, they want to be entrepreneurs. Those students tend to seek out academic programs. They tend to find the center, or they find other students. Others really discover entrepreneurship completely by accident, because they have an idea, or they entered a competition to pitch an idea and won $500. Well, now where do I go next? So that access is partly interesting on how students find us, but it's also because of the relationships we have across campus. Part of what we do is really help people find the resources that they need. So we might have a student come here. Why don't you take this course in ag entrepreneurship? This would be great for you. This is what you're studying. So it's a very communicative role. And like I said, the way people access entrepreneurship is all very, very different. And so this collaboration across campus, you add the Innovation Center on top of that, which is just more conversation going about, have you thought of this? Have you tried this? Try this. What about this? And people find their own way, but I have found in 25 years that I have yet to meet a student who said, hey, this entrepreneurship thing just wasn't for me. I learned something. Almost every student learns something in the process of engaging in entrepreneurship. And so we try to provide a wide menu of opportunities for students to try it, to learn, to take a skill set, to meet somebody. And if it doesn't resonate with them while they're on campus, they'll carry that forward, and it does resonate at some point. We hear from a number of people that come back later, you know, I took this course and this really made a difference, or I ended up with this internship because of this person I met in this class or whatever. So it's a lot of relationship building and a lot, like I said, a lot of cheerleading. It's, you know, helping people, a lot of questions and a lot of giving feedback to help people really think through the process. And we've all met serial entrepreneurs, guarantee you they weren't successful in every business they had. So it is a process, and you learn from that process every time you experience entrepreneurship.
Yes. Judy, I'm wondering if you might specifically talk about some of those things students are involved in. I'm thinking of size starters in particular. If you might spend a little bit of time on that, and also your Okoboji Institute and your learning community.
Sure. So I'll start actually back up to the pitch competition. You know, years ago, we would run business plan competitions, and business plans 20 years ago were 60-page documents. Nobody wanted to do that. A very small number of people, grown up or student, wanted to do that. And so we started doing these 90-second pitch competitions. If you have an idea, share it. So students can do that, validate with their ideas, get feedback. They can then do the formal business plan competition, but ultimately we feed them into a program called Size Starters, which is a summer experience, 11 weeks, forget your summer job, and let's give you 11 weeks of focused attention, money to support you and your business during the summer, and access to mentors and accountability sessions and professional service providers. And let's try to get you launched over the course of the summer. So we'll take 14, 15 teams every year that come through that program. They're going to meet 80 to 100 different people throughout that summer. And many of them come through at the end with a viable business. We've had 64 students go through that program to date. Over half are still in business in some fashion today. So great program for anybody who really has an idea and has gotten a little bit of traction with where they're trying to go with that. One program, Okoboji Institute Summer Boot Camp up at beautiful Northwest Iowa Lake Okoboji, meeting mentors, connecting with students from other schools that are focusing on entrepreneurship. Great opportunity. Startup Factory for faculty, graduate students who are building a technology at the university and want to try to take that to market. So we have a variety of programs that help people go through that process. So it's really diverse, and hopefully what we're doing is catering to really anybody, no matter what their trajectory is.
Fabulous, fabulous. I really appreciate your time today, Judy. Thank you so much for sharing a little bit about our Papa John Center. And if students wanted to find out more about you, where should they go?
Best place to go is our website, isupjcenter.org, or find us. We have a YouTube channel, a Facebook page. We have a newsletter, and the best thing to do is get on our digital newsletter, and we will share all entrepreneurship things that are relevant. You can pick and choose what you like, but if we can just access you digitally, then we can share whatever. You can pick and choose what you want to participate in. So Pretty easy to find us. Papa John Center for entrepreneurship, not pizza.
On that note, Papa John, not pizza. I will end.
Two peas.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I'll end our conversation today, Judy, by saying thank you so much. I know that you have had such a big impact on our students and our university. I mean, the Papa John Center is an icon for Iowa State, and we are very proud of it. So thank you. Welcome to Innovated Iowa State. And as you can see, I have here with me Rebecca Runyon. She is the newest member of our Entrepreneurship and Innovation Directors at Iowa State University. And we are so looking forward to the creativity that she brings, especially because she is an ISU alum and she came through our entrepreneurship system. So welcome, Rebecca.
Thank you so much, Karen. It's great to be here today.
Yes. So we are so excited, in part because you bring a very fresh perspective. Rebecca, I'm wondering if we could start off today, first of all, for you to introduce yourself as far as what you do for the college, and then to talk a little bit about your history of coming through the entrepreneurship program and what you took advantage of as a student here.
Absolutely. So my title is quite lengthy, but I'm the director of the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences Innovation and Entrepreneurship Academy. We call it the LAS I+E Academy for short. And so I'm based out of the Student Innovation Center. And like the title says, I direct the new academy, which I'm sure Karen will be asking me questions more about as we go on. My journey to this position really began as a student at Iowa State. During my junior year, while I was studying in the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences, I was able to launch a company called Lunch Socks. And in doing so, I was able to really learn all that there is to know about running a business, at least this sock business. I'm still learning every day from my students. But as a student, I was plugged into the entrepreneurship ecosystem here on campus, as well as in the Ames community and beyond. And I really saw the benefit that having that strong ecosystem had on me. And so when I saw that this position was open in the College of LAS, I was so excited to get to continue on my own entrepreneurial journey by working with students who are beginning with their journey.
Fabulous, fabulous. Rebecca, I understand that Liberal Arts and Sciences College is really just launching on this journey and is going to do a big launch in the fall, but you've already been working on some things this year and understand they were quite successful. Can you share a little bit about what you've done just recently to get prepared for your launch in the fall?
Yes, so I started officially in January, and since then I've been busy recruiting students to be a part of the academy. This 2 weeks ago now, we had the LAS week, and that was when the launch of the program happened. We were publicly having events that would just bring awareness to the opportunities that students will have as a part of the academy. Throughout the week, we had events focused on all realms of innovation and entrepreneurship: civic innovation, social entrepreneurship, and then traditional entrepreneurship. And so with those events, I was able to connect with students, which has been a huge thing that I've been doing all semester, of getting to meet those innovative students in LAS and connecting them with the resources that can help them really jumpstart their ideas, bringing it from concept to creation.
Fabulous. Rebecca, so I understand that the I+E Academy is going to start students off in this journey with a series of connected modules or learning modules. Can you share a little bit more about what the purpose of that academy is and how it will work for students?
Yes, so just to give an overview of the academy, it is a 2-year course-based experience, but it's not like any other course that a student will take at Iowa State. It's extremely experiential based, and really the prerequisite that Dean Schmidtman likes to talk about is that students just have to be curious. So there's no need to have a business idea in mind when you start. You just have to be someone who's interested in seeing a positive impact made in society. And so the paths that students take as a part of the academy will all look very different depending on what their particular interest is. But like Karen mentioned, throughout the academy, students will go through a series of modules. We like to look at it as being equipped with a toolkit for successfully addressing these real world issues. And so those are tools that are applicable really to any career path that students will be embarking on, specifically in the realms of innovation and entrepreneurship. So it's things like risk analysis, how to pitch your idea and communicate strategically, some of the technical education skills needed for a business. And so the structure for the academy, like I mentioned, it's 2 years long. During the first year, students will participate in 2 one-credit courses, one in the fall, one in the spring. And the course number for that, any interested students, it's LAS 345X for fall 2021. And as students progress through the first year, they'll be getting that toolkit filled with the skills that they need to launch into the second year, where it'll be very focused on mentorship. So students will be paired up with an industry mentor in their field of interest, that whatever their business or idea is, they'll be paired up with an expert who can help them really bring a plan to fruition that will help them launch that idea into reality.
That's fabulous. Now, Rebecca, I understand too that the college has a history of some really amazing innovators and industry influencers. And I know your plan is to really incorporate and build that sort of core and connect them. What are your plans for the future as you think about after you launch next year? How will those external stakeholders be engaged?
So for the first year, you know, I'm not somebody who's going to say, oh, you need to wait until year 2 to meet this influential person that can help you bring your idea to life. So mentors, stakeholders, they will be involved from the get-go, but it'll be the second year that it'll be a more formal structure. Quite frankly, that structure is still being ironed out. We're really focused on year 1 right now and getting that launched. And then in the second year, you know, it is alumni and community entrepreneurs, people all over who have a tie to LAS or just entrepreneurship and innovation in general that have a heart for helping students and that next generation of innovators.
Great. And how are faculty and staff engaged in this effort, Rebecca? And how are you connecting to other places on campus like the Innovation Center and the Papa John Center?
Yes, so Iowa State is rich with resources, and I'm calling upon everyone's strengths. As students need resources from the Papa John Center, I'm sending them over to Judy Isles and her team there. I'm based in the Student Innovation Center, so that facility is a great resource as well. As far as faculty and staff involvement, they play such a key role in gathering that cohort of students. So getting the awareness out, academic advisors play a really important role of letting me know about students that they're working with and vice versa, of letting the students they work with know about this opportunity to engage in the academy. And so as I go forward, it's the entrepreneurship and innovation faculty and staff who they're all over the college in various departments, but they are key players really in bringing this to life. I call upon them not just for nominating students, but also as we go forward, I have a committee who's helping to bring this program to life. And so they're offering workshops and just their wisdom and advice as this program is brought to life.
Thank you for your time today, Rebecca, and we wish you well as you launch in the fall and look forward to hearing more about you and your inevitable success with our students. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Karen.